Welcome to Manga Machinations! It's episode number 475, and this week we're doing a Shojo Showdown. I'm Dakazu, and with me is Dara Fox8.
Hello, everybody.
And Morgana Santilli.
Hi there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this manga podcast. We are essentially a book club for manga. I hope everyone in the US had a nice Thanksgiving. Dar, did you have some turkey?
No, we don't really do regular Thanksgiving stuff because none of us really care for turkey that much. We just bought some pork and had rice and beans and pork. It's pretty basic.
Still sounds nice. Morgana, did you have turkey?
We did. I don't love turkey myself, so I didn't have much. Yeah, had all the good stuff. Real, exciting thing was that my husband made. So he often makes pies, but this year instead of just a regular pumpkin pie, he made a pumpkin tart with a chocolate crust.
Ooh.
It was good, y'all.
Fancy.
It was good.
Nice. Yeah, I actually don't prefer turkey as well.
Yeah, I don't think most people actually like turkey that much. I think we feel obligated to eat turkey.
I've heard if you actually deep fry the turkey, it's awesome. Because it's fried.
But that's like a whole production.
That is dangerous. You can
Yeah.
find lots of videos on YouTube of people making fires, essentially.
I saw this video. The caption was like, "Holidays, a time for making good memories," and it's basically about there's this dad who's about to lower the turkey into the deep fryer, and the young girl who's maybe 3, maybe 4 years old comes out of the house, and then the person filming is the mom, I assume. They're like, "Go back inside, honey. Go back inside, honey." And dad's like, "Go back inside." And after 2 or 3 prompts, very quick prompts, she's still standing there, and the dad goes, "Go back inside!" He just snaps at her, yells at her, and she runs back inside. I was like, damn.
The holidays. Bringing people together.
He's probably stressed out because he had a bomb in his hand.
Right, yeah. As somebody who tries to gentle parent, there are times when it's important to yell and to get across the severity of the situation.
It's complicated, but I did find it funny. Funny in a bad, sad way.
She'll survive. That's
We've all been there.
She'll be okay.
Well, something that is not sad or bad is our coffee. I think Darfox wants to throw up our Manga Machinations coffee.
Fine.
You can support our podcast by heading over to ko-fi.com/mangamac and buying us a coffee. I gotta update this because we're 108% of our Darfox Still Too Handsome fund.
And guess what? I'm still too handsome.
I might actually put in a goal this time. Yeah.
There's no stopping this train.
But yeah, you have our thanks up. I want to thank Deluid, Vicky Dalton, Mia, Dr. Melface, Wyatt, Poor Mexican 72, Philip, Liquidus 002, and Xteen for being supporters on our coffee. Just saying a couple dollars our way helps us buy manga. And maybe I'll put up a project for our retrospective that we want to do next year.
Yes. A very generous bunch. You can join them if you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, besides that, we need to start this podcast off with a correction. Now, I made a mistake last week, Morgana.
Uh-oh.
I said that George Morikawa had Kentaro Miura as an assistant working on Ippo. I was wrong. Now, Kentaro Miura did work as an assistant for George Morikawa, but it was not on Ippo.
Ah.
It was on Morikawa's very first manga.
The one that he does not acknowledge.
Yes. It was called Kazuya Now, and it seemed like a high school rom-com type of thing that only lasted 2 volumes. There's a funny story because at the time, George Morikawa was 19, and he was asking Kadokawa publishers if is there anyone younger than me who can be my assistant? Because I used to be a delinquent, and seniority is important to me. I don't think I can boss around someone who's older than me. They're like, we don't have anybody, and that's how they got Kentaro Miura, who was 18 at the
Oh
time.
my god.
Mm-hmm.
That's adorable.
Do you know what else I forgot to mention last week that you would have loved?
That George Morikawa was a delinquent.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you obviously love that, but the fact that there was another person who was George Morikawa's assistant. This was his second series. It was about Formula One racing. It was a manga called Signal Blue. Only also lasted 2 volumes. But that assistant was somebody called Kazuki Takahashi.
Oh wow, really? I thought you were gonna say Yoshihiro Takashi, but wow.
Yeah, I forgot. George Morikawa was also very, very upset when Takahashi tragically died.
I bet, yeah.
All
Man.
the old boys are going.
I was gonna say he's losing all his friends.
Yeah. There's a very good YouTube video. It's in Japanese, unfortunately, but it's George Morikawa giving an interview talking about this, about Kentaro Miura. He's talking about Kazuki Takahashi. And it's very funny that even from like the beginning, you can tell George Morikawa had a very adversarial like relationship with Kadokawa.
Oh sure, who doesn't?
Like after his first 2 right when he was trying to get Ippo serialized, I guess the editors in the serialization meetings were saying, man, I don't want to read something by Morikawa. This guy already had 2 failures. And they wouldn't even
Cool.
like look at his stuff, so he was pissed.
Publishers, man, they suck.
Plus at the time, they're the magazine that had Ashita no Joe, and they're like, that's the one thing we don't touch is boxing, because we can't go past Ashita no Joe. But eventually it got through. His George Morikawa's editor had to play like sly politics, showing editors, before the meeting, one at a time.
Just
Ippo
a
and be
page
like,
just falls out of the folder. Ooh, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh, would you look at that?
probably just taking it up to them, be like, check this out, for the upcoming meeting. See, this guy's improved. This can be something.
Outside of the group setting, so that there isn't like that weird, like environment.
Oh, where the top editor says this is trash and no one can speak up against that. Yeah. Well, yeah, I want to issue that correction. Sorry about that. I did say last week. I'm pretty sure about this. So, I was not fully sure.
Yes, I actually
That's my
already
excuse.
issued this correction on Manga Mac TV, our YouTube channel, where I'm
We're recording this right now. Yeah.
I'm trying to be a little more diligent about taking clips from the week's podcast and putting them up. So
Oh, let's just be honest. You had a clip of us talking about Trigun and a clip of us talking about Hajime no Ippo. So you were just like, woohoo! Yay!
the Trigun's doing numbers. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Well, I've been trying to put up clips, but last week was pretty good, and hopefully this week as well.
Hopefully, we'll see with our main segment, Shojo Showdown.
I mean, obviously, everybody's gonna want to hear what we've got to say about these kind of low key, not the hottest of the hot shoujo manga.
And it's our job to talk about him.
It's
It
true.
is.
It's true.
Okay, so this week, I don't have an email, but I did want to talk to Dara Fox and Morgana about something that I did this week. I fell down the music rabbit hole.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to get a playlist together of like songs I liked because for whatever reason, jumping from iTunes to Spotify and losing accounts, I didn't have a playlist of songs, and I was just like, what are the songs that I like listening to? And I just took a deep dive into all this music from my childhood, from like growing up in like school to college and to post-college, and you can tell after college, I basically stopped listening to popular music because there's a giant jump in like whatever popular music that's on this list that I made. It's crazy. Like I forgot I listened to some of these songs because at one point this is back in the day of owning CDs for albums. My CD book got stolen out of my car one time. I was in a parking lot. I forgot to lock my car. I was very annoyed about that.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, I bet.
And then also going over all these songs, I was like, oh yeah, this is totally college. And it's like, Also looking at the group of songs here that are around this time of, the early 2000s, I can this sure was a popular type of song.
Yeah.
And I sure was into this kind of stuff. And so, yeah.
Did you have a glut of breakup songs, or this was the time period?
Well, the early 2000s, were a time of, things that were, it was, alternative rock that got popular because they were very emo. So,
Sure.
Collective Soul and stuff like that. Or, the one that my wife and I like to laugh about is Vertical Horizon. It's, the king of, flash in the pan emo alternative rock that got super popular. It's too old for you two, I can tell.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a Chinese cover of 80s pop song, so I don't know about it.
Yeah, see, I was building this list and talking to Dara a little earlier this week, and Dara was trying to give me suggestions. I was like, no. No. Dara, we share a lot of similar tastes, but in music, it's not going to be this case. It's not going to work.
Funny.
Well, I wasn't really, in my defense, I wasn't really suggesting that type of stuff, really random, Chinese movie soundtracks. But I did suggest, Rage Against the Machine, which is a pretty popular
Which I
band.
was like, no, that's not one of mine. Yeah, I did not listen to Rage Against the Machine at all. It's too
Me
violent
either.
for me.
It's
That's not the problem.
It's pretty good.
What's the problem, Morgana? You gonna say something sassy?
No. I just never really, it never just latched onto them. Violence doesn't bother me. Much like fiction, I can tolerate things in music that I would not tolerate in real life.
Oh, yeah.
And my favorite musician, I've talked about Nick Cave before, and I mean he has a whole album called Murder Ballads. So that's there's actually a song on there that it makes me so uncomfortable I don't really listen to it anymore because it's this guy goes into a bar and kills everyone and sings about it in great detail.
Right,
So,
yeah.
It's a great song.
it is a good song, but I can't listen to it anymore. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
O'Malley's Bar.
and I grew up on a lot of rap music, which is I'm gonna do terrible shit to you and your mom or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just some of that holds up, a lot of it doesn't. It's just
My music taste is all over the place because my parents were goths in the 80s. So I've got a lot of that. And then my mom also really likes disco, so there's a lot of that in my background, and whatever was popular in the 2000s, not popular in the 2000s, but a lot of rock music from the 2000s. Every now and then I'll be like, oh man, I used to really like Godsmack. Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's the kind of rabbit hole I went down, Morgana.
Yeah.
I added a bunch of things that my dad made me listen to, a lot of Simon and Garfunkel is on my list.
Love Simon and Garfunkel.
Is it on Spotify?
It is.
Can you just send me the? Cause I just literally.
You want to take a look at this?
I just literally just put my Spotify on. This is my everything mix, so this is just my random. Obviously, I'm not gonna press the button on any of the songs because we can't play this music. We'll get demonetized or not demonetized.
Queen, yes.
Yeah. Oh wait, is this not on? Why is it grayed out? Is it not on Spotify anymore? Oh no. That's sad. That's the problem with.
Yeah, there's a
no.
Neil Young song that I really like, "Rockin' the Free World," and Neil Young is not on Spotify because they had a
Right.
falling out. Yeah, so something is not available. So I also made a YouTube playlist as well,
So
which matches a lot of the stuff.
Here's some Jackie Chan music. Here's the Spanish cover of various anime songs. This is Dragon Ball. This is Dragon Ball Ending. This is the Digimon song in Spanish.
Butterfly,
This
yes.
is Loco por ti. Fucking Slam Dunk. The Slam Dunk song in Spanish.
Oh my god.
Fantastico. This is the Dragon Ball song in Spanish. This is the Dragon Ball Z ending in Spanish. This is Saint Seiya in Spanish, and then some more anime songs. Oh, this is Conan in Spanish. Uh, a homemade Kazuko. If you know, you know. Um, yeah.
Man, I don't even know how to share shit on Spotify, so I don't think I can do this.
Okay. I was
I
just
did make an observation about like the songs and like the things that I like to listen to.
Yeah.
Turns out I like to listen to things with people who can sing.
Oh, really?
You guys may laugh at that, but like it turns out, you know what I found out last night? My wife like fucking blew my mind, and she was so happy about it. Is that there are people like that have like professional songs put out, and they're out of tune. And I was like, what? And she's like, you know, En Vogue? It's like, yeah, I remember En Vogue. Go listen to their Giving Him Something He Can Feel. And if you go and listen to that, and within the first minute, if you hear something, then, well, congratulations. You are the same breed as me and my wife, who will listen to that and scream out loud and be like, what the fuck? My wife was so happy, and she was like, I love you so much.
You people.
My wife was dealing with this when she was growing up, and so she's happy to be married to somebody who can like she can share the pain with. Because this changed within the past decade, but you know they fix musical errors now with autotune. But prior to like 2010, it's fucking free game. Like you can find professionally like produced and like published tracks where the tuning is off, and I didn't realize that. But apparently my ear got good enough now that I can hear all that stuff, and it's kind of bummed me out about certain songs. That I was like, oh, this isn't as good as I remember. I wonder why. And it's like, oh, this is like slightly out of tune in some parts. That's crazy. So yeah, that's a little tangent talk I wanted to have about music.
What's your favorite song? Do you have one?
That's an impossible question.
Favorite song is an impossible question, man. I can tell you like my top bands or whatever, because I think that's way easier.
Even that, I have a hard time with. So much of it depends on my mood.
I mean, I can do that just because this week I was going down that music rabbit hole and making my playlist, right? So
You've been thinking about it, yeah.
yeah. Guster is probably one of my favorite bands. They're a folk rock group and they can sing really well. So guess what? Turns out I like them. Plus, they were probably the main band I listened to in college. There's also I really like Ben Folds. So Ben Folds 5.
5 what?
I got that joke. No, just Ben Folds 5.
Okay.
A lot of their older stuff. Like I said, I don't listen to more new stuff. What else? I like a lot of really unknown, obscure alternative rock or indie rock. Probably my favorite is the band called Built to Spill. A lot of people probably haven't heard of them.
I have heard of them, although I don't think I could. I don't know that I've ever heard their music. But I was friends with all the punks in high school, so all the
They got
punks
good
and emo
taste.
kids,
Built to Spill is good.
So
I was gonna say Billy Joel, but it's only because I owned the River of Dreams album when I was growing up. So, I basically almost all of that album I like. Maybe not all of.
When you
Oh, do you know who I
were a
really
young
like?
man
That's more
souls.
modern. I really like Pentatonics. Cause guess what? They can fucking sing. They're really good at singing. Just like a lot of random stuff.
I trust you.
What do you mean you trust me?
I trust you. I don't know anything about these bands. I'm like, okay, these are good singers.
You haven't heard of Pentatonics?
Maybe I've heard one of their songs, but I don't remember.
Holy shit, dude.
Too busy listening to George Lamb sing random stuff. Okay.
Music is too diverse. It really is too diverse. Everyone's tastes are like so vastly different. They could tell you like 50 bands you've never heard of, maybe even hundreds of bands you've never heard of, because there's so many.
Everybody wants to be a rock star.
But yeah, I mean, like, we've talked about this like a long time ago, off podcast. But like, some of my favorite music, like commercial music, is like the really, really highly produced, just like really engineered stuff. Like the Gorillas. It's just like it's just like a big production, a big band, a lot of different musicians, and I'm sure there's still music that Dagazu could like out of the Gorillas, but like stuff like that.
I like some Gorilla stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's stuff that's kind of difficult for just a person and an instrument. You can't just have a person and an instrument do it, right? You need a whole production for it.
Do you want me to blow your mind?
What's that?
Do you know Fatboy Slim?
Yeah.
You know the most popular song, with the music video of Chris.
The Funk Soul Rubber. Oh no, you're talking about Weapon of Choice. Okay.
Yeah, Weapon of Choice with Christopher Walken dancing around. Do you know this music video, Morgana?
No.
Oh, you should look this up. It's really good.
All right, later.
The entire music video is Christopher Walken dancing in a hotel lobby, and then he starts flying around.
Yeah, it's a goofy one.
It's absolutely amazing. But my point, Darfox, is Weapon of Choice by Flatboy Slim. It's a little out of tune.
I'll believe that. That one I believe easy.
It's just very slightly out of tune, that first musical line. That's kind of the crazy thing is most people don't notice it because they're not always out of tune. It's only for half the note or there's this moment they're out of the note. But to me and my wife, the moment they go out of tune, I start screaming. I was like, ah!
You break on hives.
Because it's why the fuck are you... If you can be in tune, why don't you stay in tune? Jesus Christ.
Damn, it's like Dagazu courtside saying, if you could score, why don't you score right now? Yelling at these players. I don't know. I have no idea what it's like to sing.
I do teach voice, so...
Yeah, I have no idea what it's like to sing music.
Use your own imagination.
OB in chat asking about Seabat. Seabat's, that's quality music. I can hear it in my head right now. I won't sing it for y'all because, I don't want to... I want to make sure I do it justice.
Yep, but yeah, that was my little music tangent I want to go on this week because that's what I was doing.
Yeah, that was fun.
The good news is I have a shit ton of songs for karaoke now. So
nice. My go-to karaoke song for a long time was "The Rose" by Midler. It's not an easy song. I don't know why I decided that was the one I was gonna sing all the time.
I have a rule now that I will always start karaoke with "Piano Man" by Billy Joel.
It's a good one. It's a long one.
Oh yeah, but it's perfect because it puts my voice in the right mood. And then when I start getting drunk, I can start doing the more fun songs.
Somebody who's never done karaoke, I think I would sing "Life on Mars." That one seems pretty easy. Not to sing well, but to sing.
Yeah, I've also definitely attempted Queen songs in karaoke. Go for it, but no, you're never gonna. Yeah. You're never gonna sound like Freddie Mercury.
It's fine. It's fine. I've come to realize this happened when I went to my brother's wedding, and then the after party was at a karaoke place. Everybody was drunk. Everyone was just singing along, not well, and they were just having fun. And I was like, oh, this is vastly different from when me and my wife go out.
You guys start battling duels. That's funny.
I'm spoiled. My wife's a good singer. All right, we can move along from this music tangent, though. That's enough preamble. Let's get to some what you been reading. All right, we'll throw to Darfox first. Darfox, are you going to eat something? What's happening?
I'm not going to eat something. Well, actually, I am going to eat something. This is a follow-up from last week. I enjoyed the Pocky so much that I ordered some Pocky. But I threw it on an Amazon order, and I should have known that it wouldn't come as nice and pristine as the Pocky on the shelf of an Asian market was. Let me show you on camera what I'm talking about.
Is the box crushed? What? I'm waiting for the delay to catch me up.
Look at this.
Oh, they're melted together.
They're melted together and they're cracking. Now there's only but one thing to do.
Just go for it, man.
I mean you know, if you want to enjoy one at a time, that stinks. But there is some joy in getting a giant mouthful of Pocky. Mmm.
That's not a Pocky, that's a puck.
Pucky.
Good one, Obi.
Did you get more flavors?
Please wait for chewing.
Om nom nom. This is an ASMR chewing podcast now.
So this was like a big pack that brought chocolate, strawberry, and also cookies and cream. And I don't like the cookies and cream that much. It's kind of waxy in a way I didn't like.
Oh.
But yeah, they come in like bags like this, which are roughly the same size of a box, probably a little smaller. Look at these poor Pocky legs just in the bottom of the bag. Nowhere to go but my mouth.
The sad ends of Pocky.
It's pretty good.
That's how. The only thing I could possibly talk about is movies, but nothing I really want to talk about. Nothing anime related.
Okay, I mean, we already took our music tangent, so we'll move along. Morgana, I know you were busy doing the Thanksgiving with the family, but did you do anything?
I did read something.
Ooh.
I was off this week, and I made a trip into Boston and went to Comicopia and bought some
Oh,
stuff.
that's right. Yeah, you posted that.
Yes, so I bought Boy Meets Maria, Barbarities Volume 1, Don't Call It Mystery, and then it's a non-manga, Seance Tea Party by an artist I like, which I have not read that one yet. But I read Don't Call It Mystery, and this is by Yumi Tamura, who did, Basara.
Yes.
Yes.
I've read some Basa this week.
Nice. So Don't Call It Mystery is a josei manga about a college student who has this like naturally curly hair, like really big poofy hair, and he's kind of antisocial and kind of weird, and he in the first story he gets framed for murder, and so he ends up solving this case and kind of gets roped into a whole, like, solving a whole bunch of cases going forward. He's really reluctant about it. It's a bit pretty basic in terms of premise. I mean, I feel like, you know, random smart dude gets roped into solving crimes for the police is like not a new idea. But Tamura's art is really lovely, and what's really interesting, so this is much newer than Basara. I think of Basara as being like very dark and lots of tone and I mean, it's a fantasy series. This takes place in like modern Japan. It's a lot lighter. Her panels are there's a lot more white. They're more spare. But her characters all look so good. They're very distinct from each other. They're really fashionable. She kind of at the end was like, this isn't really a mystery like series. And I'm like, well, it is though. Like, I feel like there's a lot of mystery fiction like this that's kind of light on the actual challenge of the mystery and heavy on the charm of the characters. So this is published by Seven Seas in English, and they're in these double volumes. So I read volume 1, 2. And it's really great. It's really, really excellent, and I really loved it, and I wish I had bought the second volume because it was there on the shelf too, and I was like, oh yeah, I was going to try this one. Maybe I should check it out, and I wish I had just gone for bought both. So that's all I read this week. but I definitely recommend it. I'm gonna try and dip into the other ones at some point if I get a chance. But I was, like I said, I was off this week, all week, so next week I do not have that luxury.
You know, I have not read that manga Morgana, and I want to.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna put it on like the programming
Do
for
it.
the future.
Let's do it. I wanna. Yeah. You know, there was part of me that was like, man, I should have picked this for Shoujo. It's josei. It's not a shoujo manga technically, but in keeping with the mood, and because we've read Tamura before for Shoujo Showdown.
If it has enough of that Doki Doki power, I think we should.
It doesn't. It's not. It's not that. It's really not that kind of story. There's not a whole lot of Doki Doki. There's a lot of like. There's a lot of atmosphere, definitely, like a lot of mood, but it's very different. Maybe that's why it's not a shoujo. It's a josei.
Yeah, I think we can get Seamus to read this, so we'll just add it to Triple Dip.
I feel like he'll find it a little lacking, but I think he would agree to read it, at least. It's fun, but the actual premise and the plot are not like earth shattering. I loved it, but it's my shit. It's also maybe vaguely slightly gay, because that seems in keeping with the kind of thing I enjoy.
Very nice. I'm looking forward to reading this. Okay, we'll move along to me. I watched something this week, and that is Scott Pilgrim Takes Off on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked it. I watched it with my wife, and she really liked it too. My wife and I are big fans of the Scott Pilgrim versus the World movie by Edgar Wright. I like Edgar Wright movies.
Yep. That's a good one.
It's kind of, I remember seeing it in the theaters with my wife, and we had one of the best experiences. Like, everybody in the theater was laughing at all the jokes. And it was just such a fun experience. That movie bombed at the box office, and it's really sad.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then the movie bombed.
Yeah. It's such a good movie, too. But this new anime that is now on Netflix, it's 8 episodes. They're about 30 minutes each. It's animated by Science Saru.
Yeah.
Which is Masaki Yuasa's former place of employee. He left there, right, Dar?
I believe so. He might still work with them occasionally. But yeah, he's not the lead of that place anymore.
It shows in the animation. It's really fluid and great. And they got the entire cast of the Edgar Wright movie to come back and play the parts here.
Yeah, I was impressed by that, actually. I was flipping through Netflix and saw it there and saw the cast names, and I was like, wow, good for them.
There's also some secret cameos by maybe some people associated with Edgar Wright through some of the episodes and some bit parts.
Interesting.
I don't want to give big spoilers, but I will say when it starts, that first episode, it's like 1-to-1 with the movie. And I was confused. But then it takes a left turn, and then you're off to the races on something that's very, very good.
So does it not follow the comic? I don't know enough about the comic. I just know the movie and the comic.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping it would follow the comic, because they missed out on some things that were in the original comic graphic novel. And when it didn't, and it just seemed like it was following the movie in the first episode, I was like, this is kind of a bummer. But then it like I said, it goes somewhere else. And then I was like, I'm very invested in this.
Cool.
And I really liked it. It was very, very nice. It was a very, very nice thing. And I'm so happy that it got a great anime. It got a great production with all the cast coming back. I highly recommend Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, everything I've heard about it has been very positive, which is nice. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of strong feelings about Scott Pilgrim. I also saw the movie and enjoyed it. I've never read the comic, so but working in comics and having friends who are very big fans of Scott Pilgrim, through osmosis, I was kind of just like, oh man, I hope it's good. Like, I hope this doesn't suck. But it seems that people are really, really pleased with it, so that's nice.
I would say, Morgana, don't read the graphic novel. You won't like it.
Yeah, I've kind of avoided it. I kind of have a sense of what it's about.
I mean, the
And
movie
what goes
covered
on.
it. The movie covered it, like,
Yeah.
lightly, but it's a lot of anime and pop culture references, which is the part people like. But on top of that, Scott Pilgrim, the character itself, he is
It's kind of a dick.
yeah, he's basically like a protagonist from Inio Asano manga in a
Yeah,
lot of ways,
yeah.
or Shuzo Oshimi manga.
Bit of a sad boy.
Bit of a sad,
Selfish.
delusional, selfish boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I take some issues with the movie too. But I mean, but I still enjoyed it. You know, it's still an enjoyable thing. So yeah, I'm glad that Scott Pilgrim fans are eating good.
You might like this anime better if you had issues with the movie. Then
Very possible.
I recommend it.
Does it have that scene for the movie where I think it was Knives, and she asked like that guy who hangs out with the band, like, "What do you play?" And he's like, "Zelda, Tetris." That's kind of a big question.
Yes.
That was when I first
Oh,
seen the
well,
movie.
that's one thing I'll mention. There's original music in this. It's not just the music they
Oh,
had from
okay.
the movie.
Oh, that's right. It's Oh gosh, the band. I can't remember the name.
The Metric.
No, there's another band. When I was looking at the credits, I saw another. I think a Japanese band. Don't worry about me. My brain is just exploding. It's fine.
The
Okay.
Sex Bombs.
No, no. I'm gonna remember it like halfway through the second part and just like hit my push to talk and scream it. Like, ah!
All right, we'll wait for that.
Yeah, get ready.
Yeah, but they put in new music for it, and all the new music was very good. So I can't. I don't. I really don't have anything negative to say about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. So
Cool.
yep.
Is Takes Off one of the names of one of the books, or is that a brand new name?
It might be new. I'm not that familiar with the graphic novels, so
Okay, I hadn't really heard that name before. But okay.
All right, let me talk about a manga I read this week. I read another manga that Morgana will love.
Ah, shit.
And guess what? It's on Azuki.
Ooh.
Let me just pull it up real quick because I just realized it's on Azuki. The English title of this manga is called Nobo and Her. Have you heard anything about this, Morgana?
I don't know. Let me see.
I just sent a link to Darfox and Morgana on Azuki. This is a manga by Moriko Ross. I'll just read you the copy. Rumors are flying around college that popular college junior Yasuhisa Nobu has a new girlfriend, but no one has ever seen her. Follow Nobu's day-to-day life as he lives with a jealous female ghost who talks using a floating whiteboard. Nobu fends off the advances of one of his college friends, but the ghost interferes. Is she catching feelings for her human companion? And can Nobu help her regain her memories?
Oh my god.
Yeah, this apparently it's an older manga from 2012 that ran in Comic Xenon Seinen magazine. But it is just a it's a romantic comedy about this college student who goes home to his apartment, and when a girl comes in, things start floating in the air and like slamming like pots and pans. And then a whiteboard floats in and says, "Don't let any other girl other than me in your apartment." Angry face. This guy Nobu lives with a ghost in his apartment, and then they fall in love.
Lucky jerk. I still haven't found a ghost in my 125-year-old house.
Morgan, this manga is great. It is 8 volumes total. Looks like they only have up to chapter 20 on Azuki, but more is coming. They've been adding more stuff. I guess it looks like this just got added in August. That's a great get for Azuki. I read all 8 volumes in Japanese, and I love this. It is wacky comedy hijinks that turn into more dramatics, and yeah, it's really good. I really, really enjoyed the man living. I love that you cannot see her. She is invisible. That's the best part. It's just floating like whiteboard that is used for communication. It is good stuff. Highly recommend this manga. Nobu and Her on it looks like just on Azuki in English, but great recommendation on Azuki. I was about to link Japanese links, so I'm glad to see that here it is in English.
Yeah, when I was looking through Azuki to try and get some ideas for this week's lineup of books, I kept finding things that I was interested in reading that didn't fit for Shoujo Showdown, but I was like, we'll just save this for later.
Yeah, add them to the program.
Yeah, I'm really kind of impressed and grateful that Azuki has some of these things.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the fact that they have titles from Starfruit Books and Glacier Bay Books.
Yeah.
We highly recommend Azuki as a manga platform to invest in. And okay, that's going to wrap up my what you been reading. And we'll finish on that segment. Okay, before we get to the main segment, I want to talk about next week, because we have something very special. Next week, we will be looking at My Pancreas Broke But My Life Got Better by Nagatakabi. It is time for us to go back to the Nagatakabi well. And we are very fortunate that once again, we'll be joined by translator Jocelyn Allen. A little bit of a bummer is, because I think Jocelyn is in Japan right now, the time that we'll be recording this, there will be no live recording, and there will be no Darfox or Seamus. It will just be me, Morgana, and Jocelyn talking about the newest Nagatakabi book.
I was going to say maybe that means it'll be a shorter podcast, but yeah. I think we can still manage to talk a lot, so...
It will be 100% be a shorter podcast because we won't have Jocelyn for that long.
Oh,
I don't want to keep her that long. Yeah, so
good point.
Expect a short and very direct episode on my pancreas broke, but my life got better.
My pancreas broke, but my life got better.
No, jeez. Morgana, we also might talk a little about my wandering warrior eating disorder. Because that also came out, so we'll probably talk a little bit about that as well. But yes, please look forward to that episode next week. And once again, there will not be a live recording on our YouTube channel for that. Just check the RSS feed for the podcast. Okay, we are going to take a short break. And when we come back, it will be time for a Shojo Showdown. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. It is time to start a Shojo Showdown. This is essentially a triple dip. We're looking at 3 different Shojo manga. And we're checking in on Darfox's Shoujo Awakening. So we have looked at 3 shoujo manga for this episode. Kimi ni Todoke, From Me to You. Deborah Is My Rival. And Ceres, Celestial legend. Sorry, for a second I thought it was celestial being.
That's a Gundam 00 thing.
Ah. But yes, we looked at the first volume of each of these. Deborah is My Rival is available on Azuki. And the other two are available if you have a Viz subscription. It's not the Shonen Jump subscription. You need the Viz one.
You need the one with a bunch of shoujo in it.
Or the Shogakukan manga. Alright, Morgana. How about you pick the order of the Shoujo Showdown? Because you curated this list.
I did. Gosh, I don't know. Let's rip off the Band-Aid and talk about Deborah.
Okay.
I mean, that makes it sound, well, just let's start with that.
Okay, we will talk about Deborah is My Rival. The Japanese title is Deborah ga Raibaru. Raibaru? Yeah, Raibaru. It is a manga by Kaoru Tada that is from 1997. It ran in Bitsatsu Margaret magazine, which was published by Shueisha. Reread ours on Azuki. It says it's published by Kaoru Tada / MZ Plan / Miyata Pro in English. Do we have localization credits on this?
I didn't see any, but
Yeah, I don't... Oh, wait. Translation and lettering, Momosuke Incorporated / Media Do. So no individual credits for the localization, unfortunately. But it is at the bottom of the page on Azuki. Let me go ahead and read the copy. The handsome blonde boy next door goes by Deborah. As a first-year student at her new university, Asayo is scared to be on her own until she encounters the beautiful boy living next door. He says he's a girl on the inside and wants to enter a fake relationship. He comes from a very traditional family famous for their tea ceremonies and wants to get out of an arranged marriage to a stranger. Asayo accepts but finds herself growing closer with the mysterious Deborah. Will they end up finding themselves to be more than just friends in this not-so-straight rom-com? I think right from the copy you can tell, like, oh boy.
please remember, this is from 1997.
Oh yeah. It's very clearly from an older manga.
1997 Japan.
Yes. So set it back another 10 years.
I just want to start by saying I knew that this was going to be riddled with problems. And it is. But that said, there is something that I found quite charming about it. It definitely does not work by most people's standards today as a kind of queer romance. Then we can talk about that. But I was actually surprised by how enjoyable I did find it, despite the glaring issues. But maybe you guys should tell what you thought about it first.
Take it away, Darfox.
I really, really like the presentation and the art. It is... I wanted to say the most shoujo-y of the ones we read, but I don't know if that's true. It's just like a different era, like a different kind of art style. But like the main girl is almost like what's her name, Asa?
Asayo.
Oh yeah, okay, she's right on screen. Asayo, though. She's almost drawn like super deformed. Like the way she looks, like her eyes are so big, and her hair is so big. that is just super cutesy, and I find it actually like really appealing looking overall, and the facial reactions and the mob characters in the background, how they react to stuff. I found a lot of stuff like, super super fun as well. The the like plot is like okay if you could like look past the stuff that they really the I guess you call it problematic stuff, the stuff that really doesn't make sense by modern understandings of representation and stuff of gay and or trans people, because they're just kind of like mixing it all up. It's just like a big, it's just like a big blender, of all these identities, and so yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fun and kinetic, and it's really easy for me to be like, hey, this is an older book, and just kind of like ignore. Easy for me to do that. Um, so I generally enjoyed it, and I don't think it has that much value outside of its like just funness. Like
Mhm.
I don't know who I would recommend this to, because I would have to give so many caveats about like all that stuff that it does kind of wrong. Um, but I mean, it's not like a bad book. It's just really of an era.
I think you nailed
Yeah,
it.
yeah, definitely. Kaoru Tada has a few titles on Azuki. I think we kind of very purposefully chose the most controversial, salacious
Yes, Morgana was like,
option.
"There's these three titles." I'm like, "That one looks like possible yikes. Let's
Yeah,
read
yeah,
that."
yeah. Go ahead, Takazu.
I mean, I think Dark Fox just nailed it. Like, I also enjoyed it. It's not the best like '90s shojo art style that I've seen. I've definitely enjoyed other titles that we've read on this podcast more art wise, but it was still enjoyable. It was fun, like Dark Fox said. You do have to ignore a lot of things to get to there. Just
Yeah,
gonna be like put blinders on. It's like I'm just gonna ignore everything Dark Fox mentioned about messy identity and representation that is all over the place.
yeah, and I
Um,
mean to address the elephant in the room, I guess, and for people who might think they're interested in reading this, you have this character Deborah who has named themselves after Debbie Harry of Blondie. I don't know why they go by Deborah and not Debbie, but anyway, um, they are they're assigned male at birth. They go by Deborah. They see themselves as feminine. They are attracted to men. Our main character Aseo insists on using he/him pronouns for Deborah. There's a lot of like, yeah, conflating of gayness and transness. There,
the stereotypical Japanese okama.
yeah, that word gets used a lot, and
Yeah,
that's not a kind word.
no, it's very derogatory.
And the thing that I think I'm struggling with, because I kind of enjoy the idea that this is a rom-com, right? I like that these two are thrown into a fake relationship because I know how that goes, right? You know how, oh, that this is the exciting thing about a romance. What bothers me about it is that Deborah is attracted to men and states that. And I don't mind if Deborah's bisexual, but it's been stated that they prefer men. And I feel like we're going to get a, oh, but I'm straight for you kind of story here. And that makes me anxious because I feel like it's just like, oh, you just need the right girl, right? And then you'll be straight and then you'll be normal. Um, so that is like the one I feel guilty enjoying this hilarious rom-com because I know that that's kind of a weird. I mean, and I read BL. It's the same thing. I'm straight except for you. I'm gay for you. Same idea, just flip-flopped around. But yeah, it is a really fun. It was really silly and fun. So if you're a shoujo completionist, you could check it out. Definitely. You know, I agree with Dark Fox. It's not something I would just offhandedly recommend.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that it's a romantic comedy, but there's a lot of comedy about like Deborah being effeminate and hitting on people and making them uncomfortable. They're like, "Oh no, it's an Okama." Like Asayo's parents, like the dad or whatever. That ain't great. It's never great, but
Nope.
yeah, it's hard.
So
And yeah, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna talk about what I had on screen. If you want to finish your thought.
No. Let's do this first.
Yeah, so I have on screen kind of like the first big misunderstanding scene that kind of leads to the premise of the manga. I assume it's the premise for the rest of the manga, which is they got to fake a relationship, or are they faking? Kind of question mark. Where Asaya's parents comes in to visit, and Deborah was using her shower, so they're like, "Oh my God, this strange man is using our daughter's shower. They're clearly living together and or dating or something."
And he's a blonde.
Well, that part was really funny too. Like, I'm not exactly sure if that's like an old school like fashion thing. People who would like dye their hair were considered like delinquent or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what the whole blonde thing was.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
That's what it's okay. He was really hung up on that, so I was like really weirded out by it.
I can't believe they dye their hair.
Okay, cool. Thank you for explaining that one to me. And like pretty quick, Deborah, because at first Asayo was basically trying to explain the situation up until the point of saying like, "Oh no, this guy is actually gay." So pretty quick, Deborah was like, "Oh yes, we are together. In fact, I'm taking full responsibility. We're going to get married." And of course, it really like blows the gasket, and that gives Deborah the idea to do this for their own parents, because apparently they've been like assigned, like a bride since birth and that kind of thing, because they come from a really big family, like an important rich family or something. So that's the kind of like the origin, and I think this is like the second chapter, maybe the third chapter, but that's kind of like the origin of like this, this topsy-turvy thing they gotta pretend like they're together.
But you left out the part how it starts out with the parents are coming in on this screen, on this page you have up, and Asayo is like, "Oh, I can't let my parents know I had a gay guy borrowing my shower. That's awful. That's too much." Why? Why is that an issue?
Right.
Yeah, the entire
Or,
fact
you
that
know,
like, yeah.
I mean,
Go
and
ahead.
this is the I guess the conceit of comedy is that she could just say, "This is my neighbor. His shower was broken.
That's
He's
all
using
she
my
had to
shower."
say.
Like-
That is
like,
literally all she
literally
had to
it.
say.
No.
But then it's not funny.
All right, talk to yourself. I want to find a good page that really shows off like the gigantic cute eyeball stuff going on in this manga.
I mean, yeah, this has the comedy stylings of things from the 90s, hiding the boy in the shower, hiding, pretending to be in a relationship to get another person out of an arranged marriage, that kind of thing.
Classic.
Yeah, the first volume ends with a cliffhanger with Asayo at like a tea ceremony in a contest against the fiance. I ended up reading the next chapter. I was like, I want to know what happens. So I read past what we had to do. I also jumped to the end. I pulled a Seamus. I was like, well, this ends in 4 volumes. Let's see where this goes. I might talk about that later.
Okay.
Did you find something to pull up, Dar?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of example, but like I'm just trying to find the most like ooh ass freaking pages of manga.
I mean, I think one of the worst is... Was it in this first volume where Asayo... Oh, no, it was not. Okay. This was past where The first volume.
Okay, I'm just gonna go to the beginning where like they introduce the character. Cause 1 second, un momento.
Okay, so the title of this manga, Deborah is My Rival, doesn't make much sense. When I was reading it from the beginning, I was thinking, okay, so is Deborah gonna be in love with the same target that, Asayo wants?
That
Right.
would be more interesting. That would
That's
have
also what the title should mean.
that would have a lot of questions. It's like, oh well, is the target like bisexual, or do they not know what's going on? But it's like that's you like you said, that's not what the book is.
No. Deborah is the love interest of Asayo. Possibly is what the title should be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you know what? With modern representation. They say representation twice. Am
You
I
did.
losing my mind? Jesus.
I do it all the time.
Full disclosure. I'm watching War Games on the
No, you're not supposed to let them
I'm
know.
watching this podcast. I really want to see this women's War Games match.
I do too. I'll send a screenshot. If you're on a Discord, you could see a screenshot of what my setup is. I think I've done this before. So
Okay.
Can we real quick just talk about the screen tone on her shirt in this page that Darfox has pulled up? It just says "boy" all over it.
Yeah.
boy.
Amazing.
I love 90s screen tones with text.
So good.
They're absurd. Just the best. There's more. There are more examples in this manga, but it's one of my favorite things. And yes, this is extremely classic shoujo visuals here.
Oh yeah. Kaoru Tada's art style of characters, especially Asayo, the ginormous eyes. Alita Battle Angel ain't got shit on this girl. I forgot what I was gonna say. Dar, you were looking something up?
No, I was just taking a screenshot of my setup. My-
Okay.
my
As we
ADD
podcast
setup.
while also trying to watch War Games at the same time.
It's okay. I always have something on in the background. I might have said this before, but I always want visual stimuli. I don't know if it's just an OCD thing or a attention deficit disorder thing. But so I've just if there's nothing going on, I put on Twitch and I put on a speed run of a Half-Life or an old game that's constantly moving and jumping around, just because for some reason I want the visual. It helps you focus sometimes. If I'm just staring at text or the wall or an static screen, I'm like, duh, just I can't really. I lose my train of thought a lot more.
Oh, I 100% am more distracted by looking at random things. I am so distracted right now.
It's okay. Morgana and I will handle this one.
Well, I feel like we
Yeah.
covered mostly everything about Deborah is My Rival. though.
Yeah.
I did want to mention though, I think I might be wrong, but I think it was Deborah, my rival. There's not a lot of translation of sound effects, and there was
Yes.
and there was some.
Yeah,
I think
there was
the
some
father,
dialogue.
Yeah,
Yes.
the father had a couple of paragraphs, small paragraphs above his head that just weren't translated at all. I'm like, is that supposed to be him mumbling or just grumbling to himself? And that's why they didn't bother translating, because it's just kind of him complaining. I didn't really know what it was, but I was kind of surprised they didn't bother. They just kept up. They just skipped it.
Yeah, this is media though.
They don't have a good rep.
They're not. Yeah, they're not the best. Yeah, there was some weirdness. I think and I think to some degree I'm used to it, especially with the older stuff, because a lot of it's being translated by either by Japanese companies who are not necessarily well versed in English conventions, or just done on a tighter budget.
Or tighter time scale.
Or tighter time scale. So I don't necessarily. I was not necessarily surprised by some of the weird translation and lettering snafus.
Yeah, there were a couple in Deborah's My Rival. What, so I pulled the Seamus and I read the end. Should I talk about this?
Yeah.
Do you want to know?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna read
Why
the rest
not?
of this.
I am curious to read more, but let's be real. When have I ever read more of anything that I said I was going to read more of?
Oh no, big
Yeah.
sad.
And I don't think we're going to be reading more of it here. So
Yeah. I don't know if you want to put up a spoiler thing, Dark Fox, or I should. I'll
can't-
definitely timestamp.
Okay.
I'll timestamp it for like the audio listeners. So.
All right. If you see me waving my hands, it means spoilers. I'll stop waving my hands when Douglas is done. It's gonna be a workout. It's gonna be a workout.
Here we go. Dar on screen waving his hand. Yeah. So the end of this manga is Asayo marries Deborah.
The what?
And
Who the what?
the final like antagonist is a gay guy who wants to be with Deborah.
Oh no.
yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all. This is shoujo manga. That's how this works.
Big set on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the gay rival eventually conceded because he wanted Deborah to be happy, and he says a line like, Deborah looks most happy when he's hanging out with Asayo. Though Deborah never goes butch or masculine. He stays like effeminate.
That's good at least. I was a little bit worried because there was the scene at the beginning where he like swoops in and saves Asayo from a potentially being defiled, and it was
Yeah.
very like white knight, and I'm like, oh man, are they gonna like? Is he gonna like man up because he found a woman? And I'm glad that doesn't happen.
And it seemed like Asayo even makes a comment at the very end. It was like, I guess you might call it a lesbian relationship.
So for
Which
the
I feel
time-
like the English translation was doing a lot of lifting,
Heavy
heavy
lifting,
lifting. I doubt the Japanese is that like good. So, yeah, it was expected. I kind of expected that to be the case, but it didn't seem like the worst version of how that could have gone down either. Like.
yeah.
And then also the gay rival shows up at their wedding is like, I moved it. Now that you're moving in with Deborah, I've moved into your empty room and I'll always be around. And they're like, oh boy, I guess we
bother
gotta
you.
deal with him.
Tee.
Teehee.
Yeah, this manga is kind of like a big fat question mark. Like, do I like it? Do I think it's bad?
I
like
mean, it's like you could tweak a couple things, Morgana, and it
Yeah,
could work.
yeah.
Like, he could be bi. That's a thing, everybody. Bisexuality is a thing.
Or just like slightly change the kind of language being used. If Deborah really does identify as a woman, change those pronouns. Like, there's just a couple things that you could just make it a romance between a trans girl and a cis girl. That's also fine.
Yep.
Dar's hand movements over here.
Okay, Dar, you can stop.
God. Can't make big people do that for too long. What are you doing?
Sorry.
I liked your kamehameha.
Yes. Yes, I was trying to do like a Tiger Fist, but it turned into Kamehameha. So like, I guess I haven't practiced Kung Fu, so I don't know how this goes.
But yeah, is there anything else we should say about Deborah is My Rival
I
by
guess-
Kaoru Tada?
I guess the last thing I should say, and maybe this is foolhardy, but it's in my mind because I've seen very arguments about like movies like Karate Kid and movies like Big Trouble in Little China that have stereotypes that today might not hold up. But I've seen arguments, and sometimes from like, Asians and Asian Americans, that like they're not the best all the time, but for the time they were progressive. For the time they actually it like Mr. Miyagi now just seems like mystical Chinese guy who has all the answers. magical Asian, I guess we should call him. But at the time, he was an Asian father figure, and
Right.
not and not like a horny weirdo chasing around teenagers, or like other shit you see like in 16 Candles or whatever. Um, and it was played by an actual like Asian person. It wasn't yellow face. Um, and similarly in Big Trouble in Little China, it has a big like Asian cast. And they're all doing interesting things, and like people point out that like the really fun thing about Big Trouble in Little China is that Jack Burton is actually kind of the sidekick in that movie, and the main character is actually like the quote unquote sidekick, which is like the Asian guy, and Jack Burton is kind of hanging around, not doing anything the whole movie, and kind of fucking it all up, except for a few key scenes, which is one of like the fun things about that movie. So like I think about that. I think about like, is there possibly a way that this manga back in 1987 could have actually been like somebody could have actually seen it and been like, oh, I actually feel seen about this. It's hard for me to imagine that. I don't know if it's possible, but I always kind of reserve that. Like that vague notion that's like, well, back then this literally like, you know, gay people in Japan or trans people in Japan in the 90s, they were probably like starving. They were probably like,
Mm-hmm.
gasping for air. They didn't have much. And I wonder if stuff like this was interesting and fun, or if it was hurtful and traumatic. Legit wonder that. I wonder because it's hard. It's like impossible for me to extrapolate and assume something out of that.
Yeah, it's hard, but I would lean toward the latter.
Unfortunately,
I think, yeah.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point, and you remind me of something. Ranma One Half is absolutely not a story about being trans, right? Like, it's really not a good example of transness. But I know that there are a lot of trans people in the West, in the United States, Canada, who saw Ranma, as a kid, because it's one of the early manga and anime that came over, and discovered something about themselves, right? Just kind of got a chance to fantasize about the idea of switching sexes, switching genders. And it's, again, it's not a good example of that. There is a lot of misogyny in Ranma. There's a lot of sexism. There's a lot of trans sexism.
There's some awful Chinese stereotyping.
Really awful Chinese. In fact, honestly, I think that's worse than some of the trans issues. Because it's not really trying to be a trans narrative, really.
It's a wacky rom-com.
Yeah, and let me be clear. I love Ranma. I think it's a lot of fun. But it's not a perfect. Nothing's perfect. But then you have that same argument. Like at the time, what was there? What was there that was even remotely, like, positive that we could use to talk about these issues, right? Talk about these things. So, yeah, this probably is not a great example of that working, but that doesn't mean there's not stuff that did work that we would still look at today and go, yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deborah is My Rival is a manga from 1997. And it shows.
And I Am a Human from 1987, and it shows as well.
Darfox, did
Hi.
this make your shoujo heart go doki doki?
Oh, that's a cruel question, because it did in a lot of ways. Are we using this synonymous for good?
No, I mean,
No.
this is just for your shoujo heart going doki doki.
Okay.
You into
you.
this possible romance between Asayo and Deborah.
No, but the art did. The art.
That's fine. That's separate.
good. That's a
Yeah,
good
That's
answer.
separate.
The art made me go like everything about like the relationship was like, well, I don't know, what do y'all whatever y'all want to do, but like the art was like, wow, look at the gigantic eyes and like the cute people and like the reaction faces and the mob scenes. What was that? No, it just looks different from the manga you see now, even like a shoujo manga or a manga that's like more women oriented.
Gotta love 90s shoujo manga art.
Boy, right there on the shirt. It says boy.
This did not make my shoujo heart go doki doki.
Yeah, I think this made my shoujo heart go, what the fuck? But like in a good way? Kind of. I mean, it's not... I want to emphasize, I enjoyed reading this.
I think we all enjoyed reading this with, like, the caveats that we've discussed about this manga.
Yep.
There is enjoyment to be found in Deborah is My Rival.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, anything else to mention, or shall we move along?
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move. Schmoove.
Okay, Morgana, let's pick the next one. What shall we talk about?
Let's do Kimi ni Todoke.
Okay, we're going to talk about Kimi ni Todoke From Me to You, a manga by Karuho Shiina. This manga started in 2005. It ran in Betsat's Market magazine came out from Shueisha. It's licensed in English by Viz. It's available with a Viz subscription. There is 30 volumes of this manga, which is bananas.
And I have read them all.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because we read on Viz, they didn't have the localization credits.
Hold on. Did you check by chance like the series page?
Oh, I should bring that up. Hold on.
They might not have it there either, but like,
I think Viz is notorious for not crediting people on their like series pages, so it might not be there.
You may be able to find the info on Anime News Network, on whatever they usually are pretty good about having that information. But yeah, it'd be great to have it there on the page. Thanks, guys.
It is not there on the Viz series page.
well, at least there's copy. We got copy, folks. And they got some author info too.
Okay. I got, at least for volume 1, I have the localization credits. This is based off the stuff on Anime News Network that Morgana just said. So translation done by Tomo Kimura. Touch-up art and lettering by Vanessa Satone.
Wow.
Let me read the copy. Sawako Kuronuma is the perfect heroine for a horror movie. With striking similarities to a haunting movie character, jet black hair, sinister smile, and silent demeanor, she's mistakenly called Sadako by those around her. But behind her scary facade is a very misunderstood teenager. Too shy to fit in, all she wants to do is make some friends. But when the most popular boy in class befriends her, she's sure to make more than just that. She's about to make some enemies too. So we read the first volume of this, which is Chapter 0, also known as Prologue, because this started as a one-shot, and then it became a series. And so we read the prologue and then chapters 1 through 3. I fucking love this manga.
Wow. Wow.
This made my shoujo heart go doki doki doki.
Hell yeah.
And to prove how much I love this manga, I refuse to read past the first volume.
Oh.
I refuse to pull a Seamus and look up the ending.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think I'm gonna read this on the Viz subscription.
Do it. I encourage it.
There's 30 volumes of this, which is a little daunting, but you know. If anyone's gonna do it in a week, it's gonna be me.
I cannot wait to hear what you think, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this series that I think is... Okay. Let me premise this by saying I have read the whole thing. I read it when I was working at Comicopia. We carried all the volumes. I would read the next one as soon as it came out. I also really love this series. And one of the things I love about it is that there are a lot of tropes and things that it uses in of shoujo manga that are really tired. But I think that it really handles them well and deals with things that normally would be problematic tropes in really healthy ways. And that is the only thing I'm going to say, because I want to hear what Dakazu thinks if and when he gets to it.
That makes me so happy to hear. Because I already loved the first volume. I love Sawako. I think she is so sweet and so wonderful. And this is a saccharine, sweet-ass fucking shoujo manga. And
it's very wholesome.
And it's so wholesome, and it's so nice.
No Seamus is allowed.
Yeah, no Seamus is allowed. I love the two delinquent, not even delinquent, they're like gal friends.
Yes.
Yoshida and Yano. They're great. Maybe the weakest part is Kazehaya, because he's just kind of like refreshingly nice, boyfriend character.
Yes, okay. Yes, but I do want to say something about Kazehaya, and that is that in a demographic, in a genre which is romances, high school romances, shoujo romances, the genuinely kind and good male love interest is very rare. So Kazehaya genuinely being a nice person, like a good person, is very refreshing when and don't get me wrong, I love a bad boy, right? But his straightforwardness and his genuine affection for people and his good personality, this is something that's kind of, to me, a little harder to find in a good shoujo romance. So I kind of like him for that reason.
I mean, he needs to be that way for Sawako because of Sawako's character. And I say he is a little dull, but I still liked him a lot. And I really like their relationship. It's so sweet. It was almost kind of forced after that one shot.
Yeah.
Where it enters chapter 1, because the one shot is basically like a complete thing. And then they have to turn that on its head, being like, oh, she didn't realize he was making a confession. And then he got embarrassed because he thought, she liked him that way. Even though she does. It's clear that she does.
She just doesn't realize it at first.
She doesn't realize it. She doesn't voice it. And I was just doki doki reading the chapters. I'm like, this is so nice and sweet. And it's making my teeth fall out and rot.
So, yes,
but I don't care. There was an anime of this. There's a live action series of this as well. The anime is on Netflix, Star Fox, and I watched that first episode of the anime, and I was like, I might watch this with my wife.
Yes, do it.
Because I think it'll be nice to see something very sweet and wholesome.
I have mentioned in the past that I love weird girl characters. And I've made you guys read Wallflower.
Yeah.
I've made you read Say I Love You. And now I've made you read this. And this is my trifecta of weird girl characters. I love Sawako. And I love in particular that she is so... I am obsessed with characters like her who are just so earnest. Like the secretary in Midnight Secretary. Right? She just really wants to be good at her job, right? It's the same idea, this girl who is just so she just wants to be useful. She wants to make friends, and not because she, is trying to become popular, not for any like backhanded reason. She's just a little bit lonely, and she wants to be. She's genuinely kind, she wants to be a like contributing member of the class. She's a little naive. I love shit like this. She is like, we gotta protect Sawako.
Oh yes, she is adorbs. Well, Darfox, I just gushed about this manga, but what did you think of Kimi
hated
Todoke?
it.
This manga was so disappointing. No, the reason why I say disappointing is because I have like one of the first pages up, and it seemed like it was going to be like Angel Densetsu, where it's like a one note like comedy book about people scared of this really nice person.
Mm-hmm.
And it made less sense because in Angel Densetsu, at least he's drawn like a weird demon kid. But here, like, she looks pretty normal for like a manga character. But that's not the book at all. The book is like about her growing and actually making friends and actually making progress, which I was kind of shocked with. I was shocked where I was like, oh wow, there's actually like, like the first volume ends with like hints that there might be some ostracizing coming up and some negative stuff coming up. But like everything in the first volume was like, oh, the classroom doesn't actually hate her, and she does.
She's just misunderstood. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they still don't understand her.
No, they don't understand it, but like they're willing to apologize to her and stuff like that, and willing to reflect and be like, oh, well, maybe we went too far with this and that, which I was kind of shocked with because I was just kind of figuring they were gonna cast everybody but the boyfriend character as just like heartless gremlins who are just like super unseeing and whatever.
And in a lesser shoujo manga, they would have.
Right. Yeah. So that was the surprising part. I see disappointing just because I was like, okay, so this might be like Angel Densetsu, and I really like Angel Densetsu, but like it really is just a one note manga. It's quite a few volumes. It's not like it's the shortest manga, and it's literally one joke for the whole series. And it's not. This isn't anything like that. It's as y'all said. It's pretty heartfelt, and it doesn't really play around a lot. And I guess it's nice to hear that, like, Morgana, you said that this deals with some tropes in healthy ways. Because when I got to, like, the ending of, like, oh my god, are the girls now who think that Sawako, like, spread the rumor, are the girls now going to, like, kill the dog and stuff it in the locker? Like, stuff it in the slippers locker, at the school, there's, like, the slippers in the entrance.
Yeah.
Is it gonna go full crazy and just like super glurgy and drama-y? But like from hearing you talk about it, it definitely isn't that kind of manga.
No. There will no puppies were harmed in the making of this manga, as far as I'm aware. No, I mean there in order for it to sustain 30 volumes, there does have to be some conflict. But no, I promise it is not. It's not Peach Girl, okay?
Oh man, that's why I don't like it.
It's not that petty shit. Yeah, there's a lot of Sawako learning to communicate and to kind of make her needs known as well as learning how to make friends. Don't worry about Yoshida and Yano. They stick around. They'll be around for a while. They're great.
I mean, there's 30 volumes. So we're gonna get some side story about their romances and whatever.
You sure as shit are. I'll tell you that right now. It's really great. It's a really fun series. This is one that again, because it's long, I think it intimidates people sometimes. I'm pretty sure Kamakopia doesn't carry this manga anymore. They can special order it for you, for those of you in the Boston area, if you're interested in buying this manga. But I think it's one of those ones that people looked at and were like, oh, it's really long. It looks like your typical high school romance, high school rom-com. But it's one that I genuinely would recommend above others. I really love it. It's really good.
Do you know what's funny, Morgana? When I started reading this, and this was the last one I read Deborah first, then I went to Ceres, and then I went to this. When I started looking at it, I was like, I'm gonna dislike this the most because of the art.
Oh, really?
Because this is a manga from 2005. It like the art style initially reminded me of the 2000s shoujo manga art style.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think between the three of these manga, this is the one that that has the artwork that I like the least. Even though I still like this, like I would rate this like the bottom of the three for this Shoujo Showdown. It's was it My Little Monster that we read for Shoujo Showdown before?
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that, and I was immediately like, "Oh boy, I'm gonna read one of a manga with that kind of art style." But like, I was just won over by the characters so much that like it didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, the 2000s is when I was reading most of the, was when I was introduced to manga. So for me, this is not
It's your wheelhouse.
different. Yeah, it's my wheelhouse, and more to the point, like as I, it finished in English in like while I was working at Kamakopi in like 2017 or 2018. So it's like, to me, to read it was almost like a throwback, right? It's like, oh, this is like old style manga. I like the artwork a lot, but it is definitely, the other two manga we read were from the mid 90s,
yeah.
So they do have a different kind of tone to them. I think also this is just a little bit, like the digital version is a little bit cleaner is not the word, but a little more like stark black and white versus the other two that we read, which are older series.
Oh, and like 90s, 80s, 70s shoujo manga, the pages are dense with like screen tones and everything.
Yeah, so these are a little lighter.
More uses of white.
Yeah, but you can still see, even on this page that Dar has up, we've got some like shoujo bubbles going on in that top right panel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where Kazuhaya is giggling.
Hexagons on the top left.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that might you might be able to
Those
argue.
aren't hexagons, dude.
Oh, pentagons. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, who counts sides anymore?
I'm
Come
being a geometry Nazi.
I guess you could argue that might be like sun glare or something, but I think those are just shapes.
They're pretty shapes.
One thing about this page, and maybe Doggers will kill me for saying this, but like, if you look at the super deform on the bottom right, that really reminds me of like Akiko Higashimura. Like,
Oh yeah.
Some of this kind of transcends like that. What like my untrained eye would consider like, oh, this is just shoujo from like the aughts. So some of this kind of has more of identity to it. Occasionally, it's just like, I don't know if it's just the style how she does a super deform. But in the left side of the panel too as well, right next to the dog butt, like it's kind of cute. It's kind of different.
Reminds me of Wallflower
can
also.
I say something really quick about that dog butt?
Yeah.
Whenever I watch anime with my wife, and they draw like the anus of an animal, my wife is always like, "What the fuck? Why do they do that?" I was like, "What do you mean? Dogs have anus. Dogs have buttholes.
Yeah.
They're there." It's fun.
Don't tell me dogs have buttholes. Don't ruin the illusion of happiness. She knows your dog has a butthole, right?
She does.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I assume she has to pick up after that butthole sometimes. It's just,
No, I guess it's just like a strange thing to see it as like in a drawn cartoon, like that kind of detail.
Yeah, I mean, they don't always draw like the testicles. Like sometimes dog has big fucking testicles, and you're like, God damn,
that dog has a dick.
Get
That
your
dick is
shit out of my face, dog. But like, they don't usually do testicles. They usually do like the sucking anus little cross.
little X.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is a funny thing. 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 Yeah, it is a funny thing
Sorry, Morgana, you were gonna say something. I totally interrupted you.
Oh no, I was just talking about how the super deformed versions of the characters also remind me of the Wallflower. Because she's also usually in like a little super deformed, like caricature of herself, except when she's doing some badass shit. I'm telling you, it is so easy to know exactly which manga I'm going to like. I don't even like. Interestingly, before we started recording tonight, I was looking at the Discord, and Tyler was under the impression that Ceres is going to be my favorite of the three because it is the oldest. Believe it or not, age is immaterial. Love can happen at any age.
Love transcends.
Yes, this is the most recent of the three, and I mean I may as well tell you it's my favorite. I mean I read 30 fucking volumes of it. I better like it.
I can see why.
I'll
This
say.
this seems absolutely sweet and wonderful. Oh, I had a random thought while I was reading this manga, and it kind of pertains to the other two manga that we read. Is that this manga is from 2005, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though this manga is from 2005, there's still in every chapter there is one page that has like that sidebar that the artist had to fill in with like some info because it was taken. That's where the ads went when it was serialized in the magazine, and I was just like, I can't believe in 2005 in shoujo manga they were still running ads on the side, because I'm pretty sure that practice was gone by that time in shonen manga.
Oh no, like all the manga I've read from the 2000s, all the shoujo manga has that.
What does that say about shoujo manga where they think they can sell more ads to
Well,
people still,
I can tell
or-
you exactly what it is.
What
Girls
is it?
spend money. Teenage girls are a huge market in every first world country because they buy accessories, they buy makeup, they buy, a lot. Teenage girls are huge consumers and are courted by marketing departments of companies all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are still ad space in shoujo manga.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, do they still run ad spaces on the side of these pages? Because it seems like it's so antiquated now. But
I would not be surprised. I do not have a. I have a shoujo manga magazine from a couple of years ago back home. I'm at my mom's house right now, but I'll have to go flip through it and see. I have a Japanese one from a few years ago, so I'll flip through it and report back. But I would not be surprised.
because
Teenage girls are big money makers.
at this point in shonen manga and seinen manga in the magazines, they still have ads. They're like at the front of the magazine or sometimes at the back, but they're no sidebars like you have here. I mean, if you've read Yu Yu Hakusho, there were sidebars because that was like in the era where they were still doing them, but definitely not anymore. Okay, I think besides the sidebar, that was all I wanted to... I already said everything I wanted about this manga, Dark Fox. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say.
In one of the sidebars, so Kaoru Shiina talks like she doesn't have time for playing video games anymore. And she wishes she could just play video games with Kazune Kawahara. Dark Fox, that's the story writer for My Love Story.
Oh wow.
She just wants to play video games
Just
With the-
wanna play video games.
with the writer of My Love Story. I thought, oh, what a fun connection. Wait, was that her or was it Yu Watase? Shit.
No, it was Karuho
Okay.
Shiina. Yeah, no, you watase. Wait, I think so.
See, I'm a little confused. I remember Yu Watase in Ceres was talking a lot about the OAV.
Yeah.
I mean the OVA.
Well, I think Karuho Shiina and the My Love Story creator are more contemporaries than.
Yeah, so it would make sense.
Yeah.
that it was those two. Yeah.
They said when they're old grannies or something. They're not quite there yet, so they're probably still not playing games.
Yeah, meanwhile,
Oh, yeah.
Yu Watase was making manga in the 90s, so
Yeah.
she was probably in her 20s in the 90s, which puts her in her 50s now.
Yep. She is mid 50s.
Wow, might as well buy a PlayStation and go to a nursing home at that point.
Yay! Hey now, I didn't say that. Just because
I
she's my
mean-
mom's age.
We'll talk about it with you what to say later, but she has had a rough time with her drawing manga. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to wrap up with Kimi ni Todoke from me to you by asking Darfox, did this make your heart, Shojo heart, go doki doki?
Yes, I would say it did.
Very nice. Would you read more of this, Star?
Purely on the recommendation of how much you two liked it. Well, especially Morgana, who's actually finished it.
Maybe you can check out the anime on Netflix. It might be easier.
Might be using reading words. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I'll probably watch the anime, so
I think we'll check out more.
nice. Okay, so let's go along to our last title, Ceres, Celestial Legend. A manga by Yu Watase. This is after Fushigi Yugi. This manga started in 1996. It ran in Show Komi magazine by Shogakkan. It's published in English by Viz. Oh crap, I should have looked up the... once again, I don't have the localization, so let me look
And
this
they're
up.
going to be older because this was originally translated in English by Viz like in the 2000s. This one's been around in English for a while. I'm not entirely sure it's available in print right now in English. It might be, don't quote me on that, but
Okay, at least according to Anime News Network, the translation is by Lillian Olsen. Adaptation Gary Leach. Lettering by Bill Schultz. Let me read the copy that is on Viz for Ceres Celestial Legend. Aya and her twin brother Aki thought they were going to a celebration of their 16th birthday at their grandfather's home. But the funeral-like atmosphere tips them off that something's not right. Their birthday present turns out to be a mummified hand, the power of which forces an awakening within Aya and painful wounds all over Aki's body. Grandfather Mikage announces that Aki will be the heir to the Mikage fortune, and Aya must die. But Aya has allies in the athletic cook and martial artist Yuhi and the attractive, mysterious Toya. But can even two handsome and resourceful guys save Aya when it's her own power that's out of control? Sweet 16 and never been kissed.
how's that for copy, y'all?
That is some old Tokyo Pop sounding like copy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so here we have a manga by Yu Watase, who is very famous for Fushigi Yugi. This manga had 14 volumes total. They're available from Viz. Also readable with a Viz subscription. Darfox, let's turn to you first. What did you think of Ceres, Celestial Legend? The Japanese title is Ayashi no Ceres.
I thought it was gonna be isekai.
Right? Because the Fushigi Yugi, yeah, you have the same Fushigi Yugi, obviously.
And when hold on, I'll bring it up right now. I was just looking at it. When she goes over the bridge and she's all like wigging out and seeing like all this stuff,
Right? It's
She-
like, oh, here's the moment. She's gonna possibly die and then fall into another world.
Yeah, yeah. It was like, okay, isekai time. But she's just like activating her powers and then she lands. So that was a little bit. I guess it was exciting to figure out that it's all going to take place in like contemporary Japan, or at the time contemporary Japan. Um, I don't know. I generally enjoyed it. It seemed like it was gonna like some of the stuff it was doing was pretty obvious. Um, there's two guys and it's just the possibilities for a love triangle in this was just like palpable, even though it doesn't really manifest so much here outside of like walking in on bathroom stuff, um, which is I guess is a very of the era, and I don't know, like the screen I have right now, it's a great like representation of the manga where like it has some cool neat kind of like visuals, and it has like a lot of like supernatural stuff, and you can see like the screen tone being used here. It's like manga doesn't really look like this that much anymore. This scene would probably look very different in a modern setting, although like the way how the way that hand is on screen right now, I wonder how they did that, if that was like somehow digital.
Oh no,
ad.
Dar. This is all physical.
Screen tone.
Right.
Screen tone
But
and like
it just
copy machines, possibly. That's the extent of that.
it just seems like the aspect ratio on the images is wrong. That's why I bring it up. But yeah, it looks cool. But so far there's not like I don't know if this is going to be just like an action book eventually, or a book that has a lot more action. But so far it's more just like an adventure and you know peril. I did. There's a couple bits of the story that I was a little confused on, and I don't know if it's because it's just to be continued. They'll revisit it later, like the stuff that happened with her mom, towards the end. I'm not sure how that was resolved. But yeah, besides that, it's just oops. I didn't mean to turn the page. This is the page right before where she catches the purse and she falls in. I guess since I've showed that page, I might as well show the introduction of
What, Hawkeye?
mysterious guy with the crop top who saved her from getting run over.
Toya, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's wearing like those awesome glasses from like
Those wraparounds.
yeah, those sunglasses, yeah.
Looking like younger Taguro.
For real.
Oh god, it's
And look at that. What we were talking about it before, that thing on the left hand side of the page, all that text.
Yep, that needed to be filled in. It was ad space in the magazine, and now it needs to be a full-blown written essay.
yeah. I feel like Togashi would just put like illustrations there.
Yep, he would for Yu Yu Hakusho.
So
And sometimes they made zero sense, zero connectivity to the story. I saw one that was like, it was filled in and it actually connected to the story here in Ceres. I don't think I've seen that before.
I just feel like sometimes I come across that I'm like, I'm happy for you, but I'm not reading that right now.
It does break it up a little bit, but I'm like determined to read it every time.
Oh yeah, I read them.
I don't know why, because like half the time they're talking about shit that I'm never going to be able to experience. Like she's talking about the OVA and all these things that are just like totally irrelevant because they're both in Japan and took place when I was in elementary school. So, like whatever.
Yeah, well, that stuff can be fun. I don't know if to call it the minutia, but like the ephemeral stuff that would never be again. Again, I keep thinking of Togashi, but like remember Togashi would write like so and so up to bat on a baseball game, like randomly.
Yes,
in,
yes.
In the middle of him drawing a manga, and it was like, what is that? Like, oh, well, I guess that was happening when he was drawing that page, so he just scribbled it on the page. There's a time capsule quality sometimes to manga, where you see like the author and where they were, what they were thinking at that time and place. It's just it's just a lot in these situations where they have like 3 paragraphs on the page.
Well, especially with this manga, I found all the pop culture references they kept making that were part of the jokes. It was so confusing because they're talking about certain celebrities that probably anyone in Japan at the time knew about, or references to like people who are pretty or good singers or whatever. Like they made one, and at least they explained it. I was like, "You think you met the Iron Chef or something?" Like, I'm glad they included that because I understood that reference.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we
go ahead. Sorry.
could have had some footnotes. Would have been
Yeah.
helpful. But again, I think this was translated at a time when maybe we weren't as diligent about things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, footnotes is good. But I was gonna say you also don't want them to just localize it and say like, oh, Eminem is pretty cute or something, because then
Yeah,
Right.
You definitely don't want that. I would
that's-
rather it
that's gonna
be direct and then explained. Yeah.
it's gonna be like it's not gonna age well in its own way, in a far more like embarrassing way.
Mm-hmm. I think Ceres Celestial Legend is a good manga. But here's the thing. I don't give a shit about this manga as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, so my dirty shoujo sin is that I don't love Yu Watase. I think she's an important creator. I think she's a really good creator, and I just don't really love her work very much. And I don't think that's anything to do with her. It's got a lot to do with me. However, I do think that we are missing this kind of story in a lot of modern shoujo that comes over to English. I want more weird fantasy with powerful girls at the helm. I am a little tired of the special snowflake kind of powerful girl, which I feel like Aya kind of is a little bit. But I read this way back in the day when I was in like middle school when it first came out. A very good friend of mine, one of my best friends in school at the time, really did like Yu Watase. She really liked Ceres. So in some ways it just reminds me of her and her kind of taste in stories, and she loved stuff with like an ass kicking heroine sort of thing. Which doesn't mean that's bad, but it does make me I have a certain like frame of reference for it that is not at all the manga's fault, but it also makes me think of it in a certain way, you know what I mean? So I think it's a fun series. I think it's a good thing to exist. I think it's great that it's available to read. Again, all on the Viz app or through Viz if you want to, get it. It's not 100% for me either, but I do think Yu Watase is an important manga creator and somebody worth talking about. And, but I was definitely curious what you guys think about it.
It sounds like I liked it more than the two of yous. I don't know. So when you say special snowflake, do you mean that like somebody who just has powers because of plot, as opposed to like a martial artist or a wizard who trained or something like that?
Yeah, and just kind of like, I love me a good headstrong female character, but the 90s were like full of that shit.
Yeah, and like everything that happens in this first volume is very typical. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't listen to advice, runs ahead, gets in more trouble, has to be saved.
Yeah, needing to
Some
be
kind
saved
of
by
weird
hot
power
guys.
attached to like an old legend. And I was like, I love Yu Watase's art, and I don't give a shit about this story.
She's
I
got
felt
her hot guy love triangle, and they keep saving her and imperiling her by turn.
Yeah, and it's just like it's just like I've been there, done that with Fushigi Yugi, and I guess like it's like it's seeing like a shonen manga that's like this. I've seen this shit before, Dar. I've seen this kind of story in a shoujo manga before.
And from the same creator, no less.
Yeah.
This is like fucking the Samurai 8 manga from the Naruto guy.
Yeah, I want to reiterate. I think this is a good manga, and probably there are people that will enjoy this. It's very good quality. but it's not for me.
All right.
I was not invested in the story.
Alright.
My shoujo heart was dead and flat.
But look at the girl's hair though. This girl on screen, she has like the half like full length bang thing going on.
And
That could
it's
be
so
a character
shiny.
from Clamp. It could be a character for somebody else. Like,
And I'm gonna read Clamp before I'm gonna read Watase any day. Sorry, you Watase. I never could get into her. And I don't know if it's because my friend was so into her and like, and I mean, I don't want to like knock my friend. Like we were really close, and we just had very distinct tastes in fiction, and so a lot of the things that she liked, and would we'd role play it when we were playing games or whatever, was just really not to my taste. So there's part of me that's like kind of like this is her kind of thing. This is not my kind of thing.
This reminds me of like reread Red River. Remember that, Dark Fox?
Yeah.
Red River.
The girl that gets teleported back in time to
Yes.
mid Egyptian times, I think. Is that what
it was Persia
Yeah, something
or
like that.
Mesopotamia. It was like it was not Egypt. But
I remember her fashion. She had like a vest on and like
Yes.
plaid, I think.
Yep.
That's what I remember most about that manga.
This also reminded me of stuff like Yona of the Dawn, and I was thinking maybe I should read more Yona of the Dawn than read more
See,
Celeste.
But those are actual isekai. This isn't isekai. This is more like
But it's like the same. It's like the same thing.
it's like was it X the clan?
Yeah, X. Yeah, it's like X too.
Yeah, it's a lot more like X, where it's like they're in Tokyo and there's magical shit happening.
Like, remember when I mentioned I was reading Basara? It's because after I read this, I was like, I should just read Basara again because it's on here as well.
Basara.
fair.
Damn. Sorry, Ceres. Damn.
Yeah. And I want to reiterate what Dakazu said. This is a good manga.
It's a good manga, and Yu Watase's art might be the best out of these three. Okay, Morgana doesn't agree with that point. I think
all
it's
very
like
different.
really good one. Yeah.
It is very good art. They're all very different kinds of art, and they all appeal in different ways, I think. But yeah, Yu Watase's work never clicked for me, and it's one of my like dirty shoujo sins, dirty shoujo secrets.
Not every manga is for everybody. It's
Right.
Me.
Just too, like, and I'm at this age now too where I'm looking at these like hot dudes, and I'm like, just go for the one that can cook. like they're practical. When you're older and you're settling down, and you're about to have a family. The guy who's like a sharpshooter is not actually that useful. The guy who can cook, that's the guy you want around.
I jumped to the end of this manga.
Yeah.
Yep,
Am I gonna wave my hands around again?
I don't think I need to talk about the end of this manga.
Oh, that bad, huh?
I mean, it's just. I just wanted to see like if it goes anywhere, and then I got to see, and that's. I really don't need to comment beyond that.
Yeah.
It is an ending.
It does end.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. I'm sorry if people were looking for like more talk about Ceres Celestial Legend, but you're just Darfox. You're just gonna have to go for it then. If there's anything else you want to mention about this, because Morgana and I, we do not care. I'm sorry, we don't care about this manga, and
Wow.
it's a good manga, but we don't care about it. It's not for us.
If you like shoujo fantasy and you haven't read Ceres yet,
You might enjoy it.
You
might
should
really
check it
like
out.
Yeah.
There's nothing not to recommend this. It just fell flat for us. There's no reason not to recommend it other than it didn't work for us. But it worked for Dar, so 1 out of 3 dentists agree that this manga's good for your teeth. Like,
Yeah, Dar. Anything else to say about Ceres?
No, that's okay.
Okay. I am going faster because we were working on a time limit today, and I do want to wrap up soon. So we will end on our thoughts on Ceres. And yeah, we have reached the end of the Shoujo Showdown. It's time for us to rank these 3 manga. And based on everything I've said, I think it's no surprise. My top choice is Kimi ni Todoke, From Me to You.
But what comes next?
I think Celeste actually comes next.
Yeah.
Even though it is not for me, and I don't care about it, I really can't recommend Deborah is my rival over it.
This one's rough because I actually enjoyed Deborah a lot.
In terms of enjoyment, I enjoy Deborah more, but Ceres doesn't have these problematic issues. So
It has perhaps other problematic issues.
yes,
but nothing quite so glaring. Yeah.
but nothing where I'm gonna go. So I'll put that above Deborah for me. That's my order.
Dar, what say you?
Yeah, it's kind of rough. I don't want to get canceled on my ranking. Let's see. Well,
Don't worry, you'll find something else to get canceled by. Just
it's only a matter of time.
yeah, we're on the internet.
Damn, am I gonna put Ceres as number 1? That's crazy. That's crazy.
That is crazy, Dar.
It's more like an even thing, right? I enjoyed Ceres and Kimi no Doke, or Kimi ni Todoke, for like different reasons, but kind of equally. So, I'll cop out and say that they're pretty even, and then I'll put Deborah at the end, even though I did like it quite a bit. I had the most fun I had with Deborah, but it was tainted fun. it's like you play with a ball, but then afterwards you realize that the ball had like razors in it, and you're like, oh, I just cut my hand up. Is that kind of thing?
I thought you were gonna say
I
realized
think a better thing would have been like you're playing with a ball and you had a great time with it, and then you realize it was stolen.
I wouldn't care about that.
I was gonna say like you're playing with a ball and you had a great time with it, and then you realized you had gotten it directly out of a pile of dog shit or something. Like it's dirty, it's dirty, but it's still fun. Like, it's kind of gross.
Yeah,
but you still enjoyed it.
That might be a closer analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, my ranking is probably the same as Takazu's. Like going into this, that's kind of what I thought my ranking was going to be. The more we talked about it, and the more I feel like Ceres is really kind of flat for me. Yeah, Deborah was a lot more fun, but it had a lot of problems. I don't know.
It was fun, but also, and this is gonna make me sound terrible. Like the problems were also fun to shake your head at, to be like, wow, like this artist really thought this was okay. Holy shit!
Right.
So like there is like a morbid curiosity that came along with like just the fun goofiness of the manga.
It's a manga rubbernecking. Like you can't look away.
I mean, you guys didn't read the end. I told you about the end, but
yeah. It's yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kimi ni Todoke is far and away the winner, and I again really think it's hilarious. Tyler thought that Ceres was going to be my favorite.
He should have said Darfox.
Yeah, just based on the fact that it's old. That is not actually something I take into consideration when I come to this. Believe it or not. I mean, I do like old manga. That's just these are all old manga.
I think he was fresh off of last week's Hajime no Ippo talk, where he just figured that was your one character trait or something.
No. I mean, I do. To be fair, Tyler, I usually do pick one of the older ones.
Okay, then is that gonna be it?
So I feel like this showdown was more complicated than usual. Usually we have like an easier time, or less caveats to communicate. But I like the collection of the books. It was a good time.
Shoujo manga's getting messy now.
Yeah.
It's getting harder to find the palatable stuff. I gotta dig deep.
That's good.
I thought this was a
what I
good
want.
collection, though. Like,
Yeah.
we got something that I really liked, which is nice for me.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm really excited that you liked it. I wasn't sure if Kimi ni Todoke would feel a little bit boring because it's kind of a straightforward high school romance. Um, but I'm glad you liked it.
Listen, likable characters do a lot of heavy lifting.
Oh, sure.
They will always do a lot of heavy lifting, so. All right. We want to wrap up now because we are just about out of time for tonight. So let's end the podcast. Reminder that next week we are going to be talking about My Pancreas Broke, But My Life Got Better by Nagata Kabi. And we'll be joined by Jocelyn Allen for that episode. Stay tuned. I want to thank Darfox and Morgana for joining me this week. If you enjoyed our podcast, make sure you subscribe to us, review us, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever else you can find us. We haven't had a review in a while. We would appreciate some more reviews. Check out our website, mangamachinations.com. Our Tumblr is mangamachinations.tumblr.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where we record our live tapings of our episodes. youtube.com/mangamactv. There's also a lot of fun content on that YouTube channel to check out. So please take a look at that as well. Buy us a coffee to support us. Just head over to ko-fi.com/mangamac. You can buy us a coffee. You can financially support this podcast so we can buy more manga to review for you so you can listen about it. Come join our Discord server. Head over to discord.me/mangamac. We are doing Mahjong Mondays. Darfox is the majesty of Mahjong right now. He won. He won big this past Monday. It was a surprise to us all.
Sometimes Lady Luck smiles upon me.
Yep, it was good. So yeah, if you're interested in playing Mahjong with us, or if you just want to come talk to us and discuss manga, just head over to our Discord. Again, that's discord.me/mangamac. Send us emails, mangamachinations@gmail.com. You can follow us on socials at Mangamac Podcast. That's Manga MAC Podcast. That's for our Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, everything else. You'll find us there. And you can follow my personal Twitter account at DocZoo. Follow Darfox at Darfox8. And follow Morgana at Morgana Relita. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to us this week. Bye-bye.